and I'm your host, Brenda McGee. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Karmle Conrad. Karmle, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
So what I'd like you to do is tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I've been gifted since I was born, and when I was a little tiny girl, about 6 years old and about 2 inches high, I was walking through the strawberry fields with my great-grandfather, and I kicked something hard on the ground, so I brushed it off and picked it up, and it was a funny-looking stone. So I took another step and kicked something hard, and it was another funny-looking stone. And my great-grandfather turned to me and said, "What do you have?" I said, "Well, come look." Now, mind you, my great-grandparents' name is McDonald, and yes, they had a farm, okay? I kid you not.
I love it.
And he put my hands together, and the stones were pretty much bigger than my hands, and took me into the house to my grandmother and said, "Tell Grandma what you have, show her." And I opened my hands up, and she said, "Tell me what you see." I said, "Well, there's a lot of people in here, but nobody can see them but me. Nobody can ever see them but me." And she goes, "I see them. I see the man in the red hat. Do you?" I go, "Yeah, he's got a red hat on and he's looking at you." I said, "You can see them?" And she told me about my gift, and she started teaching me about my culture. We're Potawatomi from South Central Michigan. And for 7 years, she trained me as a shaman medicine woman in the ways of our people.
That's amazing.
And she also taught me how not to talk about my gifts so I wouldn't be picked on at school.
Now, did she have the gift when she was younger also?
Absolutely. All the women on my mother's side of the family are gifted. My grandmother, her daughter, knew about her gift but chose not to use it. My mother was a troubled soul. Yeah. So I was the next one in line. My older sister, I don't think she knew she had a gift, but I chose to accept my gift and to do what I do.
That's amazing. So I know that you do a lot of variety of things. Can you tell me a little bit more about, if you're teaching, what you're doing, or?
I get to walk in many different worlds, which is just a blast.
Yeah.
One of my real jobs is a college professor in Quincy College, Plymouth. I teach all the hard sciences. And I have just a fabulous time. People wake up and they have to go to work. I wake up and I go play. It's a lot of fun.
Gotta love that, right?
Oh, it is. And then I get to do this. I get to walk in the world between the dimensions. And I get to connect people with energies on the other side. And it's amazing, the connections that are made. And I feel so honored and truly humbled every time I connect with someone, because I get to feel the love from their connections come through me to them and give them information. And it helps them grieve, it helps them become more settled in their existence, and it answers questions I don't even know they have. Right. Because I tell them, what I'm going to tell you, I don't need to understand, it's for you.
That's amazing.
So there's laughter, there's tears, there's sighs. It's just an incredible gift to have.
So how would they go about getting in touch with you? Like, do you have a website?
I do. My website is thecapecodpsychic.com. And I'm also on Facebook under the Cape Cod Psychic and under my name, Karmle Conrad. And there's the Facebook, the website, there's connections. You can send me an email. Awesome. I answer emails from all over the world.
I can imagine.
All over the world. It's a lot of fun. Some of them are a little weird, yeah. But some of them do not convert to English, so it's really interesting. To see Chinese or Arabic is incredible just to look at. It's beautiful. I have no idea what it means.
A lot of people ask me, what exactly is a shaman? Would you be able to?
As a shaman, we connect with, I am an earth person. I'm a person of the earth. And I respect everything that Mother Earth takes care of. I connect with Father Sky and Mother Earth every day. I connect with all the guardians and guides of my ancestors. And I connect through Great Spirit, with Great Spirit and the eagle energy, and am able to bring information and see things that have happened, see things that are going to happen, because, as you know, time doesn't exist. Right. And every time I tell somebody that, they go, "Huh?" Yeah. I said, bear with me. Here on the earth plane, in the human condition, we are given the idea of time to help us kind of check our progression as we go through life. But in reality, there is no time. So as a shaman, I'm able to leave my body and connect with all the energies in other dimensions and get information, and whether it's messages for people or it's information people need to hear. Sometimes I will go onto YouTube and put up a video of information that needs to be heard. And again, I don't need to make sense of it. It's just out there for people.
Right.
But as a shaman, we are given ways for healing and for helping people to cross over back into the light. As a shaman, I am a ghostbuster.
Awesome.
Although they tell me I can't have a proton pack yet. It's a very sad day. If you've got one, I'd like one. I've gone out and done quite a bit of cleansing negative energies from homes and businesses. And as a shaman, we use very sacred shamanic prayers, and we get it gone.
You get it gone.
We do.
Have you ever come across something like really, really bad?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It made me very ill
Yeah.
while I was doing it. I was in a house in Hyannis a few years ago, and friends of mine said, there's a baby there, for one thing. And the baby's okay, but the baby's not growing.
Ugh.
And everybody seems very tired and kind of sick, and they're of an Asian culture. So they know about the other side. It's every day to them as it is to you and me.
Right.
So they said, would you please come out and cleanse our house and get rid of this energy? We know there's something bad there. So I went out and I felt it immediately. And it tries to make us sick in our physical mind. It tries to give us headaches and nausea. And I used smudging, as my ancestors did, and I got it cornered by the front window eventually. And it was making me very ill. And I told it, you can't make me sick. And as you do, we surround ourselves in good positive energy, and it took quite a while to pulse it and throw it out of the house.
Yeah.
It was someone who had chosen to be a murderer while they were here. They came down with their plan of what they were supposed to do, and we all take a little bit of a detour as we're here, but this person decided to just do a whole something different and did join with the dark forces. You know, George Lucas has it right.
Yeah.
The dark force and the light force. He
exactly.
really did.
He really does.
And he understands it very well, and it's very true, whether you like Star Wars or not. It's still very true. I like Star Wars.
Right.
So this man, it was a male energy, had chosen to walk in the dark while he was here. He wanted what they promised. He wanted money and power and control, and he had it for a while till somebody killed him.
Right.
And he was supposed to go back in the light and sit in what we call Get Your Act in Gear School and go over what he had done and why he had done it to learn, and he chose not to go into the light. And the only way for negative energy to exist in the earth plane is to take energy from others.
Right.
And it found this house, which happens to be a vortex, for energies to cross back into the light. If a lot of times, like with 9/11, it's sudden and you don't realize what's happening. Things are sudden and you're surprised.
Yeah.
So a lot of energies will pass through different vortices on the earth plane, and this is one of them. And he found it, and he stayed in the house, and he started taking people's energy. And it took about an hour and a half to get him out.
Wow.
But when I threw him out, literally threw him through the window, the people who own the house saw the window bow out and come back in.
Wow.
And I could hear him scream from the street. And I said, you can't come back in. And I bound him.
Excellent.
And then I sent him to the space between the dimensions.
Good.
And all of a sudden there was this incredible calm, and the baby started to giggle and laugh. And I checked with my friends later, and I said, how's it going? Oh, she's gained 1.5 pounds in 2 weeks, and we're sleeping. And that was the worst. I felt very ill.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful people. We had a candle going and a crystal grid set, and they kept giving me water. They kept handing me water.
I can imagine.
They were wonderful.
Yeah.
So when it was all done, within 5 or 10 minutes, I was fine.
Perfect.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting nastier. They really
They
are.
are.
Have you
And
noticed?
I have. I have. And when I saw your show from last time, you did mention that there's a lot of activity, and there's an incredible amount of activity right now.
Yeah.
As we speak, they're here. Here they are. Hello. Validation is goosebumps, so I call them gander bumps just for equal opportunity, purposes. There's a great deal of activity going on. Part of it is because a lot of people are choosing to walk in the light.
Yes.
So many people are coming into their gifts, even if they're not sure if they have a gift. They say, I choose to walk in the white light, and then the dark can't bother you. You'll feel it around you, but it can't wake you up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock.
Right.
It can't poke you while you're sleeping. It can't scare the daylights out of you. It can't put doubt and depression in you anymore when you choose to walk in the white light. And they hate that. And the screaming has been huge.
Yeah.
Every time somebody chooses to do that, I get a little, okay. But there is a lot of activity going around.
There really is. Now, I would love to hear about your book.
So I have to tell you, this is really funny because I got done with my degree at Harvard. I went 9 years at night, and I got done in 2000 and walked in 2000.
Wow.
And my advisor said, so you're thinking about a master's degree? I said, oh, good heavens, no, I hate writing. I'm not going to do that. 2 years later, I started the master's program at Suffolk and graduated 18 months later at the top of my class.
Wow.
In health administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to read voraciously. And in 2000, had to be 2011, I had finished a book about 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. And it was by a writer we all know and like in fiction with Paranormal. And I set it on the floor in my bedroom. And you know, you got to watch what you say when you're gifted because there's no going back.
Right.
I was very tired. So I tossed the book down. I said, you know, it was pretty good, but there's not enough. There needs to be more. There needs to be a lot more sub-stories. There needs to be more romance. Really, there needs to be a lot more going on. And immediately I heard, write your own book. So I ignored it for a half hour. Mm-hmm. You can't do that, can you?
No.
They kept going, write your own book. And the room filled up with spirit. And they're like, write your own book. So I turned the light on. I said, all right. I went down to my office, got a legal pad, got back into bed, sat back. An hour and a half later, I had the whole 15-book anthology outlined.
Wow.
This Safe in Crabapple Creek is the first in 15 books. There are 5 3-book series. It's all fiction. It has paranormal. It has everyday stuff. It has magic. I blend the magic of the world into everyday activity.
Love it.
And it starts out with a woman who doesn't know she's married a really bad guy. And the FBI get a hold of her and the U.S. Marshals and say, we'll put you in witness protection and get you away from him because he's connected with the head of a Russian mafia type thing. And so she goes into hiding in Crabapple Creek, North Carolina. And everything about the book, all the roads, all the landmarks, you know, Manhattan, the Swiss Bank, down to all the highways in North Carolina are real, except Crabapple Creek. So my friends tease me. So many people are going to get lost in the Blue Ridge looking for Crabapple Creek.
Looking for it,
yeah. All the roads. But she gets down there and she meets Mr. Hunkalicious, who ends up building her house. And she knows she's gifted, but she's kept it a secret. Well, there's something very special about Crabapple Creek.
Oh, I love it.
And this book sets up the whole 15-book anthology.
And how do they get the book?
They can go onto the website and order it for me directly. And if they want to do that, I'll sign it for them.
Love
to
it.
whoever they want. If they can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in either hard print or digital.
And this is the first?
This is the first. The second one is about 50 pages from being finished.
Wow. That's amazing.
And it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Thank you. Yeah. It was released on December 7th, the day my furnace died. We didn't celebrate too much. The furnace was another blessing 3 weeks later. And then in January it went international.
Wow. Good for you.
It's a lot of fun.
It is, but you know, I really feel like a lot of people understand you, and that's why I wanted you on the show. I met you once.
Right.
And I had such a connection with you. It was like, I have to have you on the show. And
Thank
I'm so glad that I did.
I guest speak at the First Spiritualist Church of Rhode Island down in East Providence about every other month right now. I'll be there in October and December. And whatever, you know, Pastor Susan and Ernie want, they just tell me and I show up. We do drum circle the second Tuesday of every month there. And it's absolutely indescribable, the drumming. Because I call in my ancestors and everybody else, and people give messages. They're blessed with gifts. It's just amazing what drumming does because it speaks to your soul.
I love drumming. I mean, I do healing drum circles, and I like to do it at Hunts Mills in Rumford. That they have this just sacred area. I call it my sacred space over there.
There you go.
And I think people, if they drummed and things like that, they would get such a different healing from it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would love for, you know, people. Now, do you advertise this where?
It is advertised on the church's website, and I say church loosely because it's not like going to church.
Right.
We call ourselves the crazy, wonderful, loving, hugging community. Because if you come through the door, you get hugged.
Right.
You know? And we laugh during the whole service, and we sing rock and roll.
Yes. Yep.
You know, it's amazing. It's an absolutely amazing experience. And I have it on my website. It's always listed on my website. When you go onto my website and scroll down, all the events are listed.
Excellent.
For where I am and what I'm doing. This weekend coming up, I'm in Vermont at the Vermont Comic-Con.
Nice. And what are you going to be doing there?
I will be doing readings, 15-minute readings if people want them. The books will be there for sale. I'll be networking with all kinds of people. And, of course, I have to do Ben and Jerry's first. A little fun. The Comic-Cons are a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Because you reach a whole different group of people.
You do.
And I'm not out to, become a millionaire or the most popular celebrity in the world. I go where I'm told.
Yeah.
And when Spirit arranges things, that's where I am, because connections need to be made. And the one thing we learn as we get older, because we're not 25,
Right.
We're about 32 now, is that you got to let go of the control.
Right.
You really do. If you want the blessings to come, if you want things to happen, you have to let go of control. When you do that, the blessings come, the gifts from Spirit come in ways we can't even imagine. You can be the most creative and imaginative person in the world,
Right.
but you're only less than 1% of what Spirit can do.
Right.
So give up the control. Give up the control.
A lot of people are coming into new energy and things like that, and it's so hard to maneuver them in certain ways because there's just so many people out there. I always tell people, especially with the paranormal and things like that, I always tell them, because they teeter-totter on the darkness and the light.
Right.
Because I always say to them, you may get things faster, because if you're doing that, I said, but there's a bigger price to pay. So you need to watch out. And but I just feel a lot more people being, with the energies, like their energy being brought down, and that's when they're feeling the lower energies. Right.
So, and one thing is, if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Right.
And that's not just in advertising.
Right.
If you have, you're talking to some kid who shows up in your kitchen every day when you're making coffee, and you can kind of see Spirit, and he's saying, I can help you with this, and I can help you with that, and we can get you a new house, and we'll get your car fixed. You just got to walk with me. Mm-hmm. That's way too good to be true.
Right.
And we know that dark energy will use animals and children to get to you.
Yes.
And the faces of your loved ones.
Amen.
So,
yep.
and if I may, and I know you've said this before on other episodes, do not, under any circumstances, play with the Ouija board.
Yep. Unless you know what you're doing.
If you are a professional,
right,
and you know how to first bring a circle of protection in, mm-hmm, and you want to connect with specific energies as a professional, and you've got the safeguards in place, fine. But as a, I'm going to go out and buy a Ouija board and we're going to connect, you are asking for the dark to take over your life.
Yeah.
You are. And may I just say one thing?
Of course.
Witches aren't bad. Let's get something straight.
No, they're not.
Witches get such a bad rap.
They do.
The Wicca culture is an earth culture.
It is.
And they have some really awesome stuff, and I tend to use some of the different plant things from time to time.
Of course.
Because it works.
Well, it's all natural.
It is. And it's, just as whether you're a shaman or a wizard, sorry about that, a shaman or a wizard or whatever, and you walk in the light,
right,
we all use different things and they blend together.
Right.
And you all have a chance to walk in the light or the dark.
It's true.
I don't care what your culture is.
People label others. So it's like if you had a bad rap with somebody, it's like people just get scared. And I think what they don't understand is what scares them. But if they would really, research things and stuff, it wouldn't scare them as much. That's the problem.
And the teenagers tend to have fun with this stuff.
Yeah, because they're looking for something.
They're looking for validation.
They really are.
And they're not getting it from their friends.
Right.
And, there's a lot of people I speak with, and you've done this too, is if your friends are always coming to you and taking from you but not giving back to you, it's time to lose the excess baggage. Right. And if you see a lot of turkey buzzards, the emblem and the symbolism for the turkey buzzard is to let go of old baggage.
Yes.
I work with animal spirit, all kinds of animal spirit. But lately I've seen turkey buzzards out on the periphery. Mm-hmm. And many years ago, when I was working with my Lakota shaman in my late 40s and finishing my shamanic training, I walked out of my house. I'm on a little road out in the middle of nowhere. And I looked up, and 5 feet from me, on the top of a broken down tree was a turkey buzzard. And I looked at him and I bowed. I said, thank you. I get it. Working on it.
Excellent.
And I did not see him again. But as you said, there's a lot of energy. There's just a huge increase in energy going on. And there's a lot more turkey buzzards being seen. And I know that people need to let go of the old baggage, of the negative in their past and in their current life.
And I always try to tell people, you can do this. You don't need someone else to do it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like they don't have that where they always think that, if somebody else does it. But I tell them, no, it empowers you when you do it.
It does, and it frees you, and it's amazing when you let go of something. And it's always fun to hear people say, I don't know what took me so long.
Right.
Because I'm here to make connections for you, to let you know you're never alone, to help you decide to walk in the light or not, to teach you about how everything works and how everything on the other side is there for you. You just have to ask. We all have master teachers. We are not all gifted. I hear different celebrities say, well, everybody's gifted, you just have to turn it on. I'm like, oh, please don't do that.
Don't say that.
Please don't say that. I mean, I'm going to get really busy, but please don't say that. We're not all gifted. We all choose whether we're going to be gifted or not before we come down into the body. We choose when we're going to be gifted, how we're going to be gifted, just as well as we choose whether we're going to be male or female, whether we're going to live till we're 105 or cross over when we're 27. Whether we choose to have a chronic illness or to marry or to have children, we all set and discuss that with our guardians and guides and counsel before we are born again into the body. And every time we come, it's to learn more lessons. It's to learn to be more benevolent and kind and loving. So that when we go back into the light, and yes, we all go back into the light, I don't care how nasty and mean you were when you were here, you still get to go back into the light.
I tell everybody that.
If you were just a mean old man or a cranky old lady your whole life, maybe you chose to be like that so that those around you could learn and choose how to deal with that type of energy. And that's part of their lessons. When I was working with my Lakota shaman, we sat down one day and we were talking about, this was back, I have to say about 12 years ago anyway, and there had been a murder on Cape Cod a few years before that. And the three men were on trial, and it was huge. And they had killed adults and children. And we were discussing it with a couple people because they were very upset. And they said, how can they do that? And my shaman, although my shaman was younger than me, and I always tease him about that, he's very wise. And he said, there has to be chaos in the world. There has to be positive chaos and negative chaos. And this person was just very upset and said, let me explain myself. If the world were utopia, everything was wonderful and great and rainbows and roses, we wouldn't have anything to learn.
That's true.
And that terrible serial murderer gave people far and wide a chance to decide how they were going to deal with it, especially those that were related to those that were taken. Were you going to be angry for the rest of your life and live in a dark space? Were you going to say, okay, it happened, I can't deal with it, I'm just going to move forward? Or were you going to say, this really sucks?
Right.
One of my favorite words. It just explains everything. And decide, okay, I don't like it, it wasn't good, but I can't live like this, so I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to take as much good from it as I can and keep taking steps forward.
I love it. Yeah.
So it gives us all a chance.
It really does.
And again, like the murderer in Hyannis, that energy, he chose to walk in the dark once he got here.
Right.
Other people choose to be cranky, or to be murderers, or to be drug addicts, or whatever it is, so that those around them can have a chance to decide how to walk.
Never thought of it that way.
So there are negative energies. We call them bad people.
Right.
Troubled people, for a reason.
Right. So we are running out of time. Is there anything that you want to finish with or end with?
Walk in the light.
And really, again, what is the website that they can...
It's www.thecapecodpsychic.com, and you need to use the word the.
Thecapecodpsychic.com.
Right.
And if they want to make an appointment, they can go through the website.
Right.
You do mainly readings in the Cape?
No, I read all over the Northeast.
Okay, they just can go to your website and it tells everything that you're doing.
It does. You can contact me, send me an email through the website. I do phone readings all over the world.
Excellent.
That PayPal's on there, so you can set it up as U.S. dollars if you're from another country. You can, usually when that comes through, someone will call and say, I'd like to set up an appointment, or they'll send an email and say, I just paid for an hour appointment. When can we do it? And we set it up and we take it there.
Did you want to do a shout out to somebody?
I do.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to my sister Robin Shapiro in Chicago, Illinois. She's like me. She is a Reiki master practitioner and teacher. She is incredible. And she is a Feng Shui practitioner, and she practices all over the United States.
Well,
and
blessings
travels for
to
her work. Absolutely.
Blessings to you, and I appreciate you so much for being on the show today.
And thank you for having me here. It's so much fun.
Anytime you want to come back, you just let me know.
Oh, we will. We'll chat about all kinds of things.
Well, thank you all for watching. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at paranormalencounters at tv9@gmail.com. And thanks for watching. Thank you, Karmle.
You're welcome.